Right, okay. I think, yeah. I think we can give 1 or 2 more minutes for the others if there are any to join. And until then, before I give you a kind of an introduction to the module that we are going to cover, so I really would like to hear from you a skip introduction sort of thing. We can spend about 5 minutes on that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's Sulochana, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, Sulochana. You can just tell me whether you're working, whether
Okay,
you're
madam.
attached to what
Yeah.
subject that you teach.
I'm Sulochana Rupasena. I'm from Dabulle. I'm working a primary teacher as a primary teacher in Galevela, All-Cut Buddhist English School. I'm doing primary classes. Our school is English medium, so we need to improve our English. That's why we follow this degree.
Now, how did you join teaching? It's government appointments.
Not
Based on what qualification?
Sorry, no, this is not a government school, madam. It's an international school.
Right. Okay. English medium school, international, right? Very good, Sulochana. Have you done educational psychology or psychology of learning, that kind of module before?
Actually, no, madam, because I did a diploma in Rajarata University. But I didn't do like this degree.
Right. Okay. It's all right, because I wanted to know. I really want to know your background, because then based on that, I can decide. So whether I have to start from A, because educational psychology or pedagogical psychology is a new subject to you, then that, of course, I really want to know. That's why I asked you that question, Sulochana. Thank you very much for your introduction. Then you have,
come.
Yeah. Okay. Then Channa Saman Kumar. I can see your name appear.
Okay, madam. My name is Channa Saman Kumar, and I was an English teacher in Sri Lanka last year, and I was a government English teacher. I did higher national diploma in English in SLQF. After that, I worked in government sector about 8 months. Before that, I had been doing some tuition classes, and I do have about 7 years experience in teaching.
Okay.
My maximum qualification is higher national diploma in English. And last year, I was not last year, before 2 years. 2 years ago, I wanted to do this degree, but I was unable to read. So this year, I decided to read this degree anyway.
Right. It's all right, Saman, because now you are actually on track. So you will be getting your B.Ed in due time.
And ma'am, one more thing. And now I'm in Russia, and I think I talked with our sir. He told me that there is no any issue. I will be able to continue online.
Okay. Now you went to Russia. You left Sri Lanka. When did you do that?
I left 1 year ago, last February.
What are you doing in Russia, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Of course, I came as a student, and I have been studying Russian language. By now, I can speak and write, read some Russian.
Okay, very good.
And meanwhile, I'm working, and here we can't earn a lot of money, but just we can spend the time, and we can study, and just we can manage our things.
Okay.
It's not a good country to earn.
I know. So then, thank you very much, Chan. And then we can ask, Iresha spoke, right? No, Iresha got disconnected. Mubarika.
Yes, madam. My name is Mubarika Fawzar. I am from Kotia Kumbara. Hello, can you hear? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I am from Kotia Kumbara. My school is Kedehi Panawata Tamil Vidyalayam, Yetiyandutta. Um, I did Higher National Diploma in English under the CH.
Okay, that's really good. Interesting. And then we have Nilupuli.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Nilupuli Karyavasam and I'm from Goal. I just joined as a teacher, ICT teacher, and I did the national diploma in teaching and finished it last year.
Right, okay. Good. Then we can speak to Situmi as well.
I'm Situmi Vijay Singha. I'm from Matara and I'm a government teacher. I did National Diploma in Teaching from the National College of Education last year. My subject
which
is
College of Education?
CNI National College of Education.
Right, okay.
My subject is mathematics in English medium.
Okay, very good. Interesting. Maybe that you have done some psychology there.
Yes, ma'am. I had done psychology.
Yeah, okay, very good. And you know, if I'm to talk to you about me, I am Dr. Sandhya Fernando, and I have been into this teacher education for so many years. And I work for a private campus at the moment, and in Colombo. And educational psychology is one of my pet subjects. I have been doing it throughout my career. And I also started my career as a teacher first. Then only that I pursued my higher education and became a kind of a lecturer and a teacher educator. And you also can actually target it like that. This can be the humble beginning for you all. And with that, I will talk to you about the module that we are doing. It is pedagogical psychology, right? Your module is pedagogical psychology. And we get 20 hours for our contact sessions or teaching and learning sessions. Have you got the timetable?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you have been sent it. So then you know we are going to have it every Sunday and every Wednesday, 7:30 to 9:30, 2-hour sessions. 2-hour sessions, 10 sessions. So we will cover 20 sessions. 20 hours, I'm sorry. 20 hours. And if have you been sent the kind of module or something for you to refer to? Have you received a module from the institute?
Yes,
yeah,
No.
it's 116 pages or something like that. We don't have to actually be a slave to it, right? Each and everything cannot be discussed.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, actually, I can't hear you clearly.
Why is that? What about the others?
We can hear you, ma'am. Maybe they
I
are.
think actually you have to fix your device, Puta.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Try to fix it. Maybe log out and then log in again. And check your microphone. And if you can use earphones. That will also help you. All right. Then, you know, what time is it in Russia, Channa?
Ma'am, it's now 12 past 5. It's 5 o'clock. There is a 2 and 2:30 difference. 2 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Then, you know, that module, of course. Now, the course material sent. You have to know that I'm not going to stick to that. Okay. We will actually, I have actually selected the important kind of areas for the discussion, because we have to be mindful about the number of hours. But you don't worry that I will cover most of the areas that is given there, maybe not in the same order. And when it comes to unit 1, I will try as much as possible to finish unit 1 today itself, or I will take only 2 days for that. For the second session unit, actually we need a lot of time, because there are a lot of theories related to child development in that. So we need time for that. And then unit 3 also, I need some more hours, because it's also kind of content is fast. That is a brief kind of understanding that I give you. Now, when I actually discuss the content, if it is unit 1, when you're reading your teaching material, I'll be also sending some material that I'm using. You actually select the component that I cover and study for exam purposes, right? Select the component that I cover and get ready for exam purposes. Read them from the material sent by the institute and the material sent by me also. It's very important for your exam purpose. And we have a final examination, and I have to get you to do 2 assignments as well. 2 assignments. So by next week, not actually this Wednesday, by Wednesday, most probably by coming Sunday, the 3rd session, I will give you a briefing on what kind of assessments, the 2 assessments that I'm giving you, because it's also very important, I think, for you to know. Then you can be ready for your assignments. Okay. Then with that, let me share the course material with you. Sorry, the PowerPoint slide that I have prepared, and we'll start our discussion. And I want you all to actually be very active participants, that I can see that you all are good and you all be actively participating in the discussion that I see. So now I'm sharing the PowerPoint that I have prepared. Then I can easily. Okay. Can you see it? Is it on my?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay. Now here, actually it's pedagogical psychology. Okay. Pedagogical psychology. I have to, sorry. Pedagogical psychology. We will look at the 2 terms, pedagogy and psychology first. Then only you understand what is this all about. So there are 2 terms here, pedagogy and psychology, right? Pedagogy and psychology. If I ask you what is pedagogy, what is your layman's interpretation? Just something that you know, or you can have an educated guess and you can talk. Pedagogy, right? Pedagogical, pedagogy. What is pedagogy? What is psychology? Then only that you will understand what you're going to actually learn here. Pedagogy actually is related to teaching. Pedagogy means the art, the science of teaching. The art and science of teaching is pedagogy. Got it? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The art of teaching, the science of teaching is pedagogy. I will explain it further. Then what is psychology? Anybody? What is psychology? You can actually just have an educated guess and tell. Don't worry, if it is wrong, it's all right. Right, I will explain it to you. Now, pedagogy, I told that it can be simply defined as science and art of teaching. Why do we call it science and art of teaching? Now you think of a teacher, right? Think of one of your teachers. Today in a class. Hari, okay? Inna, I will mute it. I'm very sorry, I got a call. And you know, pedagogy is science and art of teaching. But I will tell why it is science, why it is art. Think of one of your favorite teachers, one of your favorite subjects, right? And think of two teachers, two mathematics teachers you had in school, two English teachers you had in school. Their way of teaching is different from each other, right? I don't think that you have found 2 or 3 teachers exactly the same way that they're teaching. Their art of teaching is different. Okay, their art of teaching is different from one another because you have your own ways of actually teaching. You develop a style which is actually very unique to the individual. That is art. But why do we call it science of teaching? You can't just in a random manner as you like, you can't walk into the classroom and teach. Instead, we have theories, we have concepts related to learning and teaching. We have theories related to learning and teaching. And as a professional teacher, that you all are getting your professional qualifications through this now. So as professional teachers, that you will learn them in psychology, sociology, philosophy, and all that. And you apply them in your classroom teaching and learning. So that is a science. There are scholars, there are educationists, there are philosophers, there are scientists, there are educationists, there are psychologists, sociologists, those who talk about how learning takes place, what happens when somebody engages in learning, how to teach and all that. So you learn them in these subjects. So your teaching is based on science as well. It's not just haphazard, it's not just that come to your mind that you do. You base it what you learn as a professional teacher. But still, now, if 5 teachers you take, they are all actually professionally qualified. They know the science of teaching. They know what psychology has said, what psychology says, what philosophy says about learning and teaching. But no 2 teachers teach the same way because they have their own way and style of actually teaching. That's the art. That's the beauty of this pedagogy. It is a combination of science and art, and each and every teacher is unique. You got my point in that explanation of pedagogy?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, very good. And then we'll take the word psychology. Now I tell you, 30 years ago, right, more or less, 30 years ago, when I first got into teacher education program at NIE, National Institute of Education, Maragavan, right? You know, that the word psychology was actually Greek to me. It was not a common word. But now you look at it, everybody talks about psychology. It has become an everyday word. It has become an everyday word. Why it has become an everyday word? Because psychology or manovidya, it studies the mind. It studies the mind. of the individual. It studies the mind of the individual, how it works, what happens in the mind, right? How the mind actually works and all these things. So if you take any, not only teachers, if you take any profession, any job, you're dealing with people. Now forget about your job. Even at home, you have your wife, you have your husband, you have your children. You're dealing with human beings. And you can build up a good relationship. You can easily understand each other if you know psychology, if you know what is going on in their mind. It applies to workplaces as well, right? As a teacher, you should know how my students actually think, how they feel, what goes on in their mind. Then you can build up a good rapport, R-A-P-P-O-R-T, good rapport or relationship between you and the students. You can easily understand your students because you know how their mind works. So psychology, now we look at it, okay? Psychology, if I take this definition which is highlighted in red, can one of you read it?
Psychology is the science study of the mind and behavior.
Very good. Psychology is a scientific study of the mind and behavior. APA. APA stands for American Psychological Association. American Psychological Association, right? They define psychology as the scientific study of mind and behavior. So why do we call it now scientific? It's the scientific study. Why do we call it scientific? It is not just random. It's not haphazard. You do experiments, you do research longitudinally and cross-sectionally. That means same set of sample over a long period of time. If not, different sets of sample at the same time, longitudinally and cross-section. Lots of research is done. So that is scientific study. Okay, it's not just random. A lot of research has been conducted and then it becomes a scientific study. Okay, then only they formulate theories, then only that they establish concepts and all that. Scientific study. So you know the mind. What is our mind? Mind is our thinking process. Mind is our feelings, emotions, thought process, how we actually take in, kind of how we pay attention, how we perceive things, how we understand the world, right? How we feel, emotions, thoughts, that's mind, right? And how to study this mind, that is a problem. Why? You can't actually get an X-ray done. You can't get a scan done there. You can't actually split it open, cut it open and see what's going on in our mind. It's not tangible. So how to study this elusive mind? That, of course, is done through the behaviors of the individual. You look at people's behaviors, right? That is observable. You look at people's behaviors, it's observable. So you look at them. Now you see your brother walking in today in a very angry mood. How do you know he's angry? His eyes are reddened. He's not looking at you. He actually kicked the dog out and all that. That is his behavior. Now you look at his behavior and you think he is angry. That is why he is behaving like this. So to read the mind, as it's not tangible, do look at observable behaviors of the individual. So how you look at observable behaviors and interpret it as what is going on in our mind, not haphazard. They are based on scientific studies and the theories and the concepts formulated. Otherwise, you will misinterpret it. No, in your class as a teacher, you see a student, right? Normally she is a kind of a very outgoing person, but today you see she is very silent and sullen and sulky, not looking at anybody and all that. You can give different interpretations, but you can't give interpretations like that and go wrong and misinterpret the mind. Instead, you have to base it on the theories, concepts that you have learned in psychology, because they are based on research they have done cross-sectionally and longitudinally. Is it clear to you what I discuss you as the definition? Is it clear to you? I want your feedback, and I want one of you to summarize the definition. Please don't actually think that you have to be very fluent in English. No, while doing your studies in English medium, you will actually improve your language. So don't take language as a barrier. But I saw that you all spoke good English. So I know that is more than enough for you to actually engage in discussion. And don't try to be perfect. We are still learning. Okay? And always your contribution in discussions, active participation, it's very important, because this is teacher education. Teachers, they are always interactive. Okay? Right. So can one of you actually look at this definition and explain the 3 key words in the definition according to American Psychological Association? Is it possible?
Pedagogical psychology means the art of scientific study of mind and behavior.
Right, okay. I agree with you. Right? It's yes. Now here, as you said, pedagogy is science and art of teaching. Psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. So pedagogical psychology is the combination of the two. Combination of the two means you actually combine psychology and pedagogy, because you are actually trained to be professional teachers. So how to do teaching in a scientific manner, with a kind of a psychological approach, and you know the students, their feelings, their thoughts, and their emotions, and then accordingly that you actually plan your teaching. That is the area covered in pedagogical psychology. Are you okay with that explanation, Puta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So others, please respond. Others, please respond. Are you not connected?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Actually, ma'am, psychology is we have to understand others' mentality, because they are in different minds now. So we have to understand their mind, and we have to do something for them. Because as a teacher, as a primary teacher, I can see there are so many types of children. So they come to the school with their parents' problems, some minor problems with the parents, and some they have many problems because they are very small. So before start the lesson, we have to understand their moments. That mean what how they behave in that moment. So we have to understand that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Then
so
only that you can facilitate learning, right?
that's why then they will involve, we can do something for them actually, because I have so many children. Some children now, they have a big nice family members, but they have another problems, and we can see they are some have economical problems, so they also have another problems. So as a teacher, we have to understand their minds. So we can take them for our hand, and we can feed them in same way. That means we can make them happy. Then only we can give them something nice. So psychology means that, madam, I think, in my view.
Yeah, you are correct, because individual differences are there, and
Yeah.
they are actually in pedagogical psychology. We are looking at how to facilitate teaching, right? Because this is pedagogical psychology.
Yeah.
And in psychology, of course, it's the study the mind of the students, study the mind of the individual through the observable behavior. Now, your module is pedagogical psychology. So you will study the mind of the individual with regard to the issues and concerns related to learning and teaching.
Yeah.
Because psychology is a vast subject, vast area, and you
Yeah.
can't actually study everything that they talk about. But your module basically look at educational related matters through the lens of psychology, learning and teaching related concerns through the lens of psychology. Sulochana, are you okay?
Madam, I got it. Yes, madam. Thank you.
Very good. So what you said is very important, because any relationship, teacher, student, parent and children, and boss and the employer and the employees,
Yes.
a doctor and the patient, right? Husband and wife, any
Yeah.
relationship, it's a matter of dealing with human beings. So you can actually build up a good understanding and a relationship if you can understand the other person. For that, actually psychology, not pedagogical psychology, but psychology is self-help. Self-help. It helps you in many ways in building up relationship, because life is a matter of all relationships. Okay, if you are easygoing with them, you can be easygoing if you understand others.
Yes.
So psychology for self-help. Pedagogical psychology is for the actually understanding of each other when it comes to learning and teaching. That is the teacher and the students. So Sulochana, you are correct. Okay. Now, others, why don't you talk? Others, why don't you talk? Because for your exams and everything, classroom discussion is really important. I want to tell you, you have to actually be in class and you have to be very subtle in understanding that what lecturer says and which areas the lecturer gives importance and all that, and active participation in your lectures, okay? Because you are doing this not only for the certificate and to become a kind of professionally qualified teacher, but to develop your skills, attitudes, and all that. So that is through the active participation and interaction only that you can develop that. So I expect that from you all. So Sulochana actually responded, at least one more person before I move on to the next topic. Nobody wants to? Nobody wants to?
Madam, do we need to memorize the, the term of pedagogical side? Sorry,
no, sometimes in papers, right? Now in papers, they will ask you, define pedagogical psychology. So then you have to look at what is pedagogy, what is psychology, and the combination of the two, and all that you will be able to answer. Normally, these are the type of structured essay question that can be a part. So you are getting your recordings now, then you listen and make your own notes as well. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Good. I want you to be, at least, if you don't know the answer, at least ask me a question, right? Then I know that you're there. Right. Okay. If you don't mind, you can have your cameras on, but I really don't want to because I'm not presentable today. If you think it's boring just to listen, you can have your cameras on. Okay. And then, can I actually discuss, because it's one of the areas covered in the unit 1, can I just discuss the second topic? Now, the first topic, we discuss what is pedagogical psychology, right? And then I will discuss the evolution, history and evolution of psychology, not pedagogical psychology. Don't get it confused, because this is foundation, because these schools of thoughts are there. So I tell you history and evolution of psychology. That is the topic I'm covering now. So you can make your own notes. History and evolution, right, of psychology. Are you ready now?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. Then history. So I have to take you back to 1879, Wilhelm Wundt, Leipzig University, Germany. 1879, Wilhelm Wundt, Leipzig University, Germany. So psychology became a separate field of study. Psychology became a separate field of study in 1879, with Wilhelm Wundt establishing the first psychology lab in the University of Leipzig, Germany. Okay. Before that, right? Before that, actually psychology, what we discuss in psychology today, those are also discussed in philosophy and physiology. Physiology and biology. Physiology and biology. What we discuss in psychology today, those topics have been, they were discussed in philosophy and biology or physiology. But Wilhelm Wundt, with the establishment of the first psychology lab in the University of Leipzig University, Germany, in 1879, psychology became a separate field of study. That is the humble beginning. That is the humble beginning, right? But the thing is, now you have to know, nothing remains the same. Psychology became a kind of field of study that everybody got interested in because it is understanding human being. So whatever the relationship you build, whatever the job that you actually get into, it's a matter of dealing with people. So it's important to get to know them and understand them. So psychology became the interest of everyone. So it expanded like nothing, right? And then it became very vast. Then ultimately it's branched out. It's branched out. Like, personality psychology, educational psychology, clinical psychology, forensic psychology, likewise administrative psychology. Likewise, psychology became everybody's interest. So depending on what they actually want to know in their job, basically, they actually had started having separate branches for each and every, especially the profession. So as you all are teachers, yours is pedagogical psychology related to the study, scientific study of the mind and the behavior, relating it to learning and teaching. That component is taken out for you. Okay? That component is taken out for you because it helps you in facilitating learning. So how, if you know how the students actually pay attention, how the students actually be motivated, how the students actually perceive things, blah, 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 and how the intelligence work and all that. Blah, blah. So that component is given in the pedagogical psychology. But now what we are going to discuss is this thing. That is the history and the evolution. And I want you to look at this now. The third topic I discuss, major perspectives, major approaches, if not major schools of thought in psychology. Approaches, perspectives, schools of thought. They all refer to the same. These are only major ones. There are others as well. In your book, of course, from structuralism to functionalism, and then all these things are there. But it is too much because we have to manage our work. So I actually discuss the major. Normally in psychology, you call it 4 major perspectives or approaches or schools of thought of psychology. So now what does it mean? What does it mean? Anybody who can explain it? What does it mean by the perspectives or the approaches of the schools of thought? Now you have to know that in the book there are about 7, but I'm looking only at 4 major, because that is what is important for you, right? The rest we are not going to discuss. So when you are getting ready for your exams and all that, look at the material I send and accordingly select the areas that you study from the material that you already have got, okay? Is it clear what I'm telling you, Putta? Is it clear what I'm telling you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. And now here we are, this is the third topic, major perspectives, approaches, or schools of thought of psychology. So can you actually, have you got any idea about this, or can I start explaining? Anybody to tell something about this, if you know, if you have an idea? No?
No, ma'am.
Right. But I want to know whether all the 7 are there today in my
Yes,
session.
madam.
Are
Yes.
you there?
Yes, madam. But
Yes, madam.
there's an error in my phone, madam, I think, because I can't hear you clearly.
I
If you
see.
never mind, can you talk little louder?
I'm talking at the top of my voice also. I will try my level best. Then others
no,
might find it difficult to listen to me. Is it okay if I shout like this? Others?
Okay, okay.
It's
Okay,
okay,
it's
ma'am.
not too loud then.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, did you send any materials? I didn't get any.
No, I did not send Putta. I will
Okay,
send
ma'am.
it to you because it's my first day. So I
Okay, ma'am.
actually could not. I'll be sending it by tomorrow. Hereafter,
Yeah,
I will try to send it before the lecture. Okay.
And ma'am, after the lecture, will you share this PowerPoint presentation to us or not?
No, I will send the PowerPoint presentation to the institute.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so
They
much.
will be
Okay.
definitely sharing the recording also with you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, I think they are recording. Normally they send it to you, no? Normally
Maybe,
it's the
ma'am.
practice. No. They will send
Yeah,
you the
yeah.
recording, but be in the class. That is important. Okay. You
Okay,
can
ma'am.
talk,
Sure.
you can ask questions and make it a kind of a good experience for both the parties. Otherwise it's boring. Right? Anything that comes to your mind, you can ask like that. Okay. So next time I will send you the materials beforehand. So you can study and be prepared to ask questions. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
thanks.
I do. Send. Okay, now.
Thanks.
Good. So I know that you all are there. So we are discussing the 4 major perspectives. So there you have to tally it with the material sent by the institute. There are 7 mentioned. Sometimes people talk about 12 perspectives. But normally when it comes to pedagogical psychology, we can actually look at the 4 main. Now, what does it mean by perspective, approach, or school of thought? It's this. Time to time, the singular word is Gurukulaya. There can be people, I know there's a Muslim girl and she may not understand that. I just gave the singular word, Gurukulaya. That is, cult. A cult, a group of people, right? They have a set of beliefs. They have a set of beliefs. And based on that set of beliefs, they actually study the mind through the observable behavior of the individual. So here we are going to discuss 4 groups of psychologists. 4 groups of psychologists, right? They had different set of beliefs, and based on that different set of beliefs or perspectives, based on that, they actually studied the mind of the individual through the observable behavior. So if you take the 4 major, psychoanalysis, behavioristic, humanistic, and cognitive perspectives, approaches, or schools of thought. Psychoanalysis, they have a different set of beliefs, and based on that, they actually studied the mind of the individuals through the observable behavior. If you take the behavioristic perspective or the cult or the school of thought, those psychologists, those who belong to this behaviorism, they had a different set of beliefs or thoughts, and based on that, they actually studied the mind. Humanistic, the same, cognitive, the same. Now we have to know what are their set of beliefs. What are their set of beliefs? Because you have theories in the rest of the course. You have theories that belong to psychoanalysis, school of thought. You have theories belong to behaviorism or behavioristic perspective, school of thought. You have theories related to humanistic perspective. You have theories related to cognitive perspective. Because of that, what are their beliefs? What do psychoanalysis perspective actually have? What sort of beliefs the behavioristic have? Like that, we have to know. So can I take one by one and explain in brief the set of beliefs that they had?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Others, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, dear. Thank you. Then let's take behaviorism first. Okay. Let's take behavioristic perspective first. The behavioral psychologists. I will take you to the slide here. Behavioral psychologist. Yeah. Actually pioneered by Watson. W-A-T-S-O-N. Watson is the pioneer of behavioristic school of thought. So he is a behavioral psychologist. That group, that cult, those who belong to behaviorism, they had a set of beliefs. What is that set of beliefs? Right? Learning occurs through the interaction with the environment. I have put it here. According to behavioral psychologists, J.B. Watson, Ivan Pavlov, right? And then Skinner, right? They are the pioneers. Watson, Pavlov, Skinner. They are the pioneers. According to them, that is according to behaviorism, learning occurs, learning happens through the interaction with the environment. So what does this mean, environment, in psychology? Is it the trees and the sky and the animals and all that? No, never. It has a different meaning. In psychology, environment means everything not within us. What is environment in psychology, Putta? What is environment in psychology? Everything not within us. What is it?
Everything not within
Not
us.
within us. And what are they? Your parents are your environment. Your religion is your environment. Your siblings are your environment.
Our society.
Our society, definitely. In the school, peers, friends, peers, teacher, the school culture. Each and every school has its own culture, no? That is the child's environment. Teacher
And
is child's environment.
Generation?
Sorry?
What about the generation?
Yes, the generation you belong to. It's your actually environment. Even culture, right? Even your religion. And in the classroom, actually, the teacher is the child's environment. Other friends, we call it peers, P-E-E-R, peers, friends, are their environment. School culture is their environment, right? Like that. So, according to behavioral school of thought, pioneered by Watson, Pavlov, Skinner, learning occurs through interaction with the environment. Learning occurs through the interaction with the environment. So the child interacts with the environment, the child lives in. And then if the environment is favorable, if the teacher is good, if the peers are good, the child's learning is promoted. Because that interaction only promotes actually learning. So that is a set of the beliefs of the behaviorists. You, the individual, interacts with the environment. And that interaction, because of that interaction, learning occurs. So there are theories that describe them. What are the theories that describe this interaction with the environment and how learning occurs? You can make it down if you want, because we will be discussing them later on. You have Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov's classical conditioning. Skinner's, B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning. They actually are learning theories that belong to behavioral school of thought, one of the schools of thought that we discuss. But we will be discussing these theories later on. Okay? What are the two theories I told you, which is very well known? Pavlov is the name of the psychologist. Okay? Pavlov's classical condition. Very interesting. Okay? We will be discussing them later on. And then you know classical, okay? Classical condition. And then you know you have, he's also Skinner, B.F. Skinner. That is the name of the, S is not there. Why is that? Skinner, B.F. Skinner, operant condition. So I will put another one here. According to behaviorists, learning is habit formation. Learning is habit formation. Do it over and over. Do it over and over. You will learn it. Habit formation. Do it over and over. You will learn it. So you can apply this to your classroom as well. So how to apply them into your classroom learning and teaching? Pavlov's classical conditioning and Skinner's operant conditioning. When we do them, that you will know. But the set of belief is that learning occurs when the individual interacts with the environment. Environment is the teachers, peers, school culture when it comes to learning. Okay, at home it can be the dogs, pets, grandparents, neighbors, and all that. The religion you practice and all that. Okay, right. Is it clear to you? Any questions before we go to the second one?
Okay, madam.
Right. Can I get you to look at the second one? Psychoanalysis perspective. Psychoanalysis perspective. Can you see the slides?
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Psychoanalysis. Now you know this is very interesting. Okay, this is very interesting. According to psychoanalysis school of thought, it's a different set of beliefs. The psychoanalysts, right? Psychoanalysts, those psychologists, those who belong to this psychoanalysis school of thought, what was their set of beliefs and the assumptions that they based their psychological theories on? That is what we are going to look at. What is their set of beliefs? So pioneered by Sigmund Freud. Have you heard of Sigmund Freud? Have you heard of Sigmund Freud?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think he's a known person because he discussed things that actually is debatable and all that. Okay, there are literature, novels, dramas, films made based on what he has said, right? So because of that, he's a bit of a known person than the others, right? Anyway, the psychoanalysis perspective or the psychoanalysis school of thought, that is actually pioneered by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud. And Erik Erikson is another very well-known psychoanalysis, right? Those who belong to this school of thought. So what is their set of beliefs? Now, Sigmund Freud and Erik Erikson, what is their set of beliefs? Listen very carefully, it's very interesting. Now, they believe in the existence of, I repeat, psychoanalysts, they believe in the existence of unconscious mind. What is it? Unconscious mind. And the impact of, unconscious mind. And the impact of childhood experiences in one's personality. One's personality. I repeat, psychoanalysis school of thought pioneered by Sigmund Freud and later on by Erik Erikson. Their set of belief is this: one's personality is a matter of the childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind. Right? One's personality, one's adult personality. Now, you all are adults. Your adult personality is a reflection of your childhood experiences, which are stored in the unconscious mind. So, before psychoanalysis school of thought, you know, psychologists were studying the mind. Psychologists were studying the mind, but they did not know. They were ignorant about the existence of the unconscious mind. They studied only the conscious mind. But it's Sigmund Freud and the followers who belong to the psychoanalysis school of thought that actually for the first time actually revealed that our mind has three components. Our mind has three components. And these three components, namely conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. And our adult personality is a reflection of the childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind. And this belief actually brought in a revolutionary change to psychology. Why? Before psychoanalysis school of thought, psychologists were studying the mind of the individual, but they were studying only the conscious mind. They did not know, they were ignorant about the existence of the pre-conscious and the unconscious mind. So you can see the big change it brought in. And do you understand what I'm telling?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All of you. Right, good. Now, next time, I will actually get you to be prepared for a small 2-minute presentation. Okay? 2-minute presentation. Now take it down. It's not an assignment, but you can be prepared for a 2-minute presentation. Can you all take it down? This is what you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
to do. You have to select any area we discussed today. You have to select any area we discussed today and talk about it for 2 minutes. You may discuss the definition of pedagogical psychology. If not, you may discuss one of the schools of thought, like behavioristic school of thought. If not, psychoanalysis school of thought. If not, cognitive school of thought, and all that. But later on that I'll be discussing the scope of pedagogical psychology, the use of pedagogical psychology. So that also can be one of the topics, but you're getting only 2 minutes and you have to be very well prepared for that. For that, you have to actually be prepared, okay? And present it before we move on to the next day's lesson. Are you okay?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. Now I actually was talking about psychoanalysis school of thought and the existence of the unconscious mind and the childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind has a great impact on the adult personality. Okay. To discuss what are the kind of experiences stored in the unconscious mind and how it can be how it can affect the adult personality, they are discussed in theories. Those theories are actually Sigmund Freud's psychosexual development of personality. When it comes to Erik Erikson, psychosocial development of personality. And teachers can actually do a lot of facilitation, making use of those ideas given in those theories to facilitate or promote learning, right? And very interesting, now you can see this picture in the middle. Here, to actually for the first time to talk about the 3 components of mind, Sigmund Freud make an analogy, a comparison. Sigmund Freud makes an analogy or a comparison. Sigmund Freud compares the mind to an iceberg. You call it iceberg analogy. Sigmund Freud compares the mind to an iceberg. And we refer to it as iceberg analogy, comparison, the mind to an iceberg. So you can see the middle picture. Now our mind has 3 parts, 3 components. I read them to you. Conscious, pre-conscious, P-R-E, pre-conscious, and unconscious. Conscious mind, pre-conscious mind, unconscious mind. So he compares it to an iceberg. The tip of the iceberg, which is above sea level. The tip of the iceberg, which is above the sea level, is the conscious mind. Tip of the iceberg, which is above sea level, is the conscious mind. And it is only less than 10%. Only less than 10% of your whole mind. Only less than 10% of your whole mind. Right? That is the beauty of it. Before psychoanalysis school of thought, psychologists were studying the mind, but it is only less than 10% they were studying because it's only the conscious mind that they actually study. That is the revolutionary change. Okay. Now, what is stored in the conscious mind is the thoughts, emotions, feelings that are going on in your mind right now, and you're aware of them. The thoughts, feelings, emotions, temperaments going on in your mind, and you're aware of them. For example, you don't understand my decision, so you're very angry with me, and you know you're angry and you're uncomfortable because you don't understand what I'm feeling. So that is, you're aware of that thought. That is the conscious mind, less than 10% of your whole mind. Okay. Now the second component is the pre-conscious mind. Pre-conscious mind. Pre-conscious, if you look at the iceberg, what you can see through, that part of the iceberg. Now, if something is underwater, a small part you can actually see through. When you look at from the surface, small part can be see through, but it's not very clear. It's faded. It's faded, right? That is also a very small part, less than 10%. Less than 10%. And that what can be seen through that part of the iceberg is the pre-conscious mind. So it is also less than 10% of your whole mind. Then what is there in the pre-conscious mind? They are the experiences, thoughts, emotions, experiences, knowledge that is stored in your mind, and at your will you can recall them. Right? At your will you can recall them. So now I gave you the definition of psychology. Now as I ask you that question, you can recall it. Right? What did you have for your breakfast? Now you start thinking of it and you can recall it. Right at the moment, it's not there in your mind, but once pricked, you can recall them. They're stored there in your mind. That is the pre-conscious mind. You know that they are there in your mind, but you can recall them. That is also less than 10%. Then look at the largest part of your mind. Sorry. That is the unconscious mind. More than 80%. More than 80% of your mind is the unconscious mind. More than 80% of your mind is the unconscious mind. You do not know what is stored in your unconscious mind. Now, if it is pre-conscious, you know. When is your father's birthday, you can recall. Right at the moment, it was not there. When I asked you the question, it's recalled. You know, it's there in your mind. That is pre-conscious, less than 10%. But unconscious mind, more than 80% of your mind, you do not know what is stored in that unconscious mind. So Sigmund Freud, Erik Erikson, in their theories tell you what gets stored in the unconscious mind. And commonly, it's the childhood experiences. If they are not actually pleasant, if they have led to conflicts, they are stored in the unconscious mind. And you and I, we do not know what is stored in the unconscious mind. But your personality and my personality is a reflection of The whole mind, the conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious, and the largest part is the unconscious. So largest part of our personality as adults is due to our unconscious mind, what is stored in the unconscious mind. And according to these theories, they are our childhood experiences, which are stored as conflicts in our mind that will actually lead to an adult deviation of our personality. What are those deviations also? They discuss in those theories. Anyway, we will be discussing them if they are relevant and if they are given in your syllabus later on. But we are looking at the psychoanalysis school of thought, and the summary is they believe that our mind has three components: conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. And what is stored in the unconscious mind, the childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind, they actually decide, determine, and affect our personality. That is the set of beliefs that the psychoanalysis school of thought has. Do you understand or you don't understand?
Understood, madam.
Very good. So we will
Yeah, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Yes, understood.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Will you be able to say about? You told about personality. I didn't hear that part. Under unconscious mind.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to psychoanalysis school of thought, they actually basically talk about total personality of us, right? Now, education, what is the purpose, ultimate goal of education? Developing a balanced personality, developing a total personality in the child. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So they talk about overall personality. So there is a lot of kind of implications for the teacher, right? Now as an adult, now you and I have my own personality. You have your own personality. And how you have become somebody like you? According to psychoanalysis school of thought, your childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind. If there are conflicts, right? What are those conflicts and how it affects your personality? They're discussing theories, right? This is the assumption I'm talking to you about. So according to them, if your unconscious mind, in your unconscious mind, there are actually unresolved conflicts of childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind, and your adult personality is a reflection of it. So how it affects what kind of personalities, they are discussing theories. You understand?
Yeah, ma'am, understood. Ma'am, I want to know something. Then according to this, the present personality that we have has made by the experience that we had in our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but ma'am, as example, then I say something. I had some bad experiences in my childhood. Because of that, sometime I may be now with those experiences, maybe a person who look at the society as bad. Example, ma'am, this is then if I want to change this right now, if I change it, then by learning, if I change right now or within 2 or 3 days or within a period of time, in that case, our childhood experience did not affect, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, very good question, Putta. Now here, this is only psychoanalysis. That is their set of beliefs. You know?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Yeah,
we don't say that we are all, we have to actually understand individuals by applying only psychoanalysis school of thought. You understand? That is their set of belief.
Okay,
then
ma'am.
why
Understood.
do we study all that? I tell you. Now we are in eclecticism. I spell the word eclecticism. 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 That means You're not applying only psychoanalysis school of thought. You will draw from behaviorism, you will draw ideas, concepts, and elements from cognitivism, you will draw from behaviorism, and you will apply them appropriately. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Understood. Ma'am, can you spell that?
You don't have to, yes. Some people actually deny this. Some people actually do not believe in psychoanalysis school of thought. Actually speaking, the fourth school, major school is humanism. They actually disregard what psychoanalysis school of thought talk about. They don't focus on that. They focus on something else. So it's up to you, which is applicable. It's up to you to select. Now here also, you talk about now, according to psychoanalysis school of thought, Puta, by the age of 5 years, by the age of 5, okay, by the age of 5, your adult personality is determined. That is psychoanalysis school of thought. Humanistic school of thought, they don't believe in that. So what you're going to apply, that all depends on your own perspective, right? If not, you will go eclectic in understanding your child. Did I answer your question, son? Did I answer your question, son?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it, no?
Yes. Yeah, I got it.
Right.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
And
one more thing.
Yeah.
Can you spell that word ECLECTI? You told about
Eclecticism.
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 Okay, thank you,
Eclecticism.
ma'am.
That is, you
Eclecticism.
draw from this school of thought, that school of thought, and try to actually mix it appropriately in understanding the child. Got it?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Ma'am, if
Right.
you don't mind,
So
may I?
this is also now here, some very interesting example I give you. I read it in a psychology book. The 3 components of the mind, the conscious and the pre-conscious and the unconscious. Unconscious, you and I do not know, but some adult deviation is in the personality seen. You can see nail biting. There are some adults, they still bite their nails. And overeating, drinking, right? Smoking, right? Sometimes, over cleanliness, messy people. According to Sigmund Freud, they can be the adult person deviations, and there are worse ones as well, some sexual orientations like that. And then if it has become a problem for you and for your family, for your partner and all that, so you go and see a counselor who is trained in psychoanalysis. They will actually get you to a hypnotism. Hypnotism, have you heard of? So they have techniques to apply, and they bring their unconscious mind to the consciousness. And then they get them to actually shed that. Something like that, some techniques are there. I'm not a kind of a well-versed one in that, because that's not my field. They are for a counselors and all that, okay, therapists. So that is there. And we do not know why we behave like that, but there is that conflict chemical that. And one more thing about this, now conscious and pre-conscious, the difference. Now it's your birthday, and you want a surprise from your partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, a fiance, like, and you're waiting for the surprise, and he has forgotten your birthday. Now you're highly disappointed, and now you are angry, now you're hurt, now you are actually hurt and angry, okay? Then that is your conscious mind, because you know what is going on in your mind. I'm angry and I'm actually hurt because he did not remember my birthday, and you're let down. You're disappointed. So you're aware of what is going on in your mind, that is conscious mind. Then because of what happened, all of a sudden that you can actually, it comes to your mind, your first boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend, if not, he gave me a ring and he actually gave me a surprise party. And that day I wore a pink dress and all that, everything comes to your mind. Actually, it's there in the back of your mind. It's stored somewhere. You know that it's there, but once it's recalled. That is the pre-conscious. But the unconscious is more than 80%. You and I do not know what exactly is stored. According to them, it's all irrational thoughts and libidos and unfulfilled, ungratified libidos and conflicts of the childhood. So what kind of experiences, how they become conflicts, they are discussed in theories that they actually, that was their focus. That was their focus. Okay. I think that's enough of psychoanalysis. School of thought. If there is some theory, there are some theories related to psychoanalysis, we will be discussing it more because they can be easily related to learning and teaching as well, because you have to understand your students. But there are other schools of thoughts are actually more applicable when it comes to pedagogical, psychological. I feel I have to study the book and see what we are supposed to do, and let's come back if it is there. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
If you don't may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It was a big problem from, big question from, since National College of Education. That means, whether the three minds, that mean conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious, the words are equivalent to id ego, super ego, or separate.
Right. Okay. I tell you, Putta, right? Now, actually, the three components of mind, that is conscious, pre-conscious, and unconscious. Id, superego, and ego, they are components of personality. They are components of personality. So, conscious, pre-conscious, unconscious, components of mind. Id, ego, superego, components of personality. The connection, there are two different terms. Am I like terminology? They refer to two different things. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
But there's a connection. There's a connection. What's that connection? Now, our personality has three components. As we are born, up to 1 year, we have only id component. We have only id component. So when it comes to 1 year to 3 years, the ego component emerges. And then 3 to 5 years, the superego component of personality emerges. Id driven by pleasure-seeking principle, ego driven by realistic principle, superego moral principle, morals. So we are in eternal struggle. Id kiyanava, id is for instincts, libido fulfillment, gratification of bodily needs. From birth up to 1 year, the child has only id. And then ego realistic. Wait, right? Wait and see. So then this actually we have our libidos to fulfill and they can be. So these are actually very big discussion. It can be discussed in a theory. So I will not go to that part today because I have 2 more schools of thoughts and the assumptions to be discussed. But I want to study the actually content, the rest of the content. I went to only the first unit today. I will actually see whether it's there. If not, some other day I will just explain you Sigmund Freud's theory. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a connection, but they refer to 2 things. Components of mind and components of personality. Right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and very interesting theory. But I have to see whether it's there. Even if it's not there, as you're interested, I will actually discuss it with you all some other day, not on the first day, because I have another half an hour only, and I have to discuss 2 more schools of thought and the scope of educational pedagogical psychology as well. So to cover that part, because it will take the half an hour if I to discuss, because they talk about the 5 stages like oral, anal, phallic, latent, and genital කියලා. ඒ කාලවලදී during those stages they have their bodily needs to be fulfilled. Gratification of some body parts. So if they are not fulfilled, over gratified or under gratified, the child in a conflict, and that conflict is stored in the unconscious mind. If it is a conflict in the unconscious mind, you can see deviations in adult personality. So something like that. So it's actually very lengthy discussion if it's true. But today it's what I'm discussing is the philosophical assumptions of psychoanalysis school of thought. So it's clear what's the philosophical assumption, existence of the unconscious mind, and how these childhood experiences stored in the unconscious mind determines one's adult personality. Okay? Hope it's clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll discuss it some other day, right? Right.
Okay,
Then
ma'am.
අපි යනවා, yeah. Cognitive school of thought. What is it? Cognitive school of thought. When it comes to cognitive school of thought, Jean Piaget. I think you have done Jean Piaget. I saw it's a big topic in your module as well. So we will be most probably discuss Jean Piaget next time when we meet. It has lots of educational implications. So cognitive perspective, cognitive psychologies, cognitive school of thought actually pioneered by Jean Piaget, then Gagny and others. Okay, according to them, they actually develop psychological theories, concepts based on this set of beliefs. What is their set of beliefs in formulating psychological concepts and theories? They think, right, internal mental processes of thought, such as visual processing, memory, thinking, learning, feeling, problem solving, and language, they matter in learning more than the environment, as the behaviorist said, more than the unconscious mind, as said by the psychoanalysis school of thought. Cognitive psychologists, they focus more on the internal mental processes, such as sensation, how we receive information from our 5 senses, and how we perceive them, how we actually commit them to memory, how we pay attention, how we actually use the information committed to the memory in problem solving. All these are the focuses of cognitive psychologists. Is it clear to you?
Yes.
Or do I have to explain it again?
I understood.
Yeah. So the cognitive psychologists, they disregard the fact that we are actually responding to our environment and we are interacting with them. They did not actually focus on the unconscious mind and what is stored there. Instead, they focus on the functions of our internal mental capacities, like how we perceive, how we take in information through 5 senses, how we pay attention, how we perceive them and give meaning, how we commit it to memory, how we actually retrieve them from the memory and solve problems. That is what they focused on, right? And they actually discuss theories referring to our internal mental capacities and discuss how we can actually promote learning, facilitate learning. So Jean Piaget is one of the pioneers, and his Piaget's theory of cognitive development, any teacher would know. And it has lots of classroom implications. So Gagne's 9 events, right? Gagne, how the memory works, how perception can be facilitated. These will be discussed in the rest of the lessons. They are all from cognitive school of thought. Is it clear to you? Say yes or no, then I can move
Yes,
on to
ma'am.
the
Clear.
next.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, right. Okay. And then we'll move on to the fourth main school of thought, that is humanistic or humanistic perspective or humanistic school of thought, pioneered by Carl Rogers. And there are some other followers as well. This is a very different set of belief, when it comes to psychology. Not interaction with the environment, not the existence of the unconscious mind and the childhood experiences. They don't focus, humanistic psychologists, they do not focus on the internal mental capacities like sensation, perception, memory, and problem solving. Instead, their actually focus is on the development of positive self-concept. They focus on development of a positive self-concept in the individual. They disregard the rest, but they focused on how to develop a positive self-concept in the individual. What is this self-concept? Self-concept is what we think of ourselves. Self-concept is what we think of ourselves. What we think of ourselves. Now I ask you, do you have a positive self-concept or you have a negative self-concept? Can I ask you this question? You have a positive self-concept or negative? Chanda?
I have both, ma'am.
Basically, more or less, more into. Definitely, we are a mix.
Yeah, ma'am. Positive concept.
Oh, good. Mubarika?
Yes, ma'am. Positive.
Oh, very good. Nilupuli?
Positive, ma'am.
Got a set of students. Situmini?
Most of the time positive.
Really good setup. For me, actually, I'm a very negative person. Sulochana?
Actually, always I try to be positive, ma'am.
You try to be positive.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Because literature says, right? Literature says in a materialistic world like this, it's very difficult to stay positive. We tend to compare. Our own parents make comparisons. See, your cousin, she's doing right. She has lots of achievements. What are you, men? You're not doing anything properly. See your younger sister. And then you go to TV. TV says, you may be fair, you may be dark, but you're beautiful. You have your own beauty. But they say you may have short hair, one may have long hair. But they say you have to have long hair, you have to have fair skin, otherwise you won't get a job. So you are actually made to develop a negative self-concept. Maybe that you try your level best. But according to Carl Rogers, according to Carl Rogers, humans, individuals, they are born with the desire. They are born with the desire to be happy and to become self-actualizers. That is, doing very well in life as fully functioning people. But in the course of living and gaining experiences, we tend to lose our positive concepts about us and we tend to develop a negative concept about us, self-concept, because it's highly competitive. So for that, you have to give unconditional love. Unconditional love, there's no condition. You are accepted by your parents, your siblings, your school, your teachers, friends, for who you are. But it hardly happens in the materialistic world, right? So based on that assumption, developing positive self-concept, they formulated theories. And basically they talk about personality development, congruence and incongruence. So what we think of ourselves and what the society wants you to be. If there's a gap, you're unhappy. So they are discussing these theories based on the point that one's need to develop a positive self-concept. As a teacher, you also have to get your students to develop a positive self-concept. The moment that you compare them with somebody, he's the class first and I'm the class fifth, that positive self-concept is tricked and challenged. We live in a world like that. Even our own education system is very competitive. Even at home that you are compared to others. The very moment that the comparisons are brought in, you are challenged. Your self-concept is tricked. So based on that, only that humanistic psychologists actually focus on that aspect only. They actually formulated theories and concepts. Let's see what kind of theories from humanistic psychology that we have to actually discuss. One more thing I want to tell you now. They actually criticize behaviorists, behaviorism school of thought, because in behavioral school of thought, they actually use animals, did experiments using animals. For example, Pavlov dog's experiment, Skinner rat's experiment, and they are generalized to humans. They are against that. They say humans are animals. You cannot actually see any comparison. So that is wrong to do that. Okay, they say that we are born with lots of capacity in us. So animals are not born like that. So because of that, they actually believe in that our abilities to do very well in life as fully functioning individuals, if throughout our experiences, if they are not actually hammered. But if they are hammered, because always we are compared with others. That's their belief. Very interesting theories are there. Okay, let's see. What kind of theories are there? I saw you have Piaget. I saw some other theories like classical operant. So let's see what theories from humanistic school of thought is there in the syllabus and do. Okay. Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, can I actually ask you, now the last point I want to discuss is what is now educational psychology we discussed, no? Pedagogical psychology. We'll make it pedagogical psychology. What is pedagogical psychology? So pedagogical psychology, we discussed. So pedagogy is the art and science of teaching. Psychology is the scientific study of the mind through the observable behavior. So the combination of this teaching and connecting it to the psychology, and if not, teaching is seen through the psychological lens, that is actually pedagogical psychology. In your unit 1, there are some definitions. I saw about 5 definitions. So you can read them and jot them down in a separate paper, right? Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Now, we'll actually lead a discussion. We have another 20 minutes. We'll lead a discussion on scope of pedagogical psychology or educational psychology, same. Scope of pedagogical psychology. Scope කියලා කියන්නේ uses of pedagogical psychology. If not implications of psychology, pedagogical psychology, how it is useful for the teacher in teaching and learning. That is the focus, right? Because you all teachers, you all are doing Bachelor of Education, so you are trained to become professional teachers. So it's educational or pedagogical psychology. What are the uses? What are the uses? Can you say something?
We can understand the child's mental situation by learning the psychology.
That is, yes. With pedagogical, don't talk about psychology alone. Now, my question is pedagogical psychology. The implications are pedagogical. So you have to always relate it to teaching and learning. Okay? Can you?
In order to create a successful teaching learning process, pedagogical psychology can be used. Through this pedagogical psychology, we can create the effective classroom.
Yes. How can you create an effective classroom through the application of pedagogical psychology? Because you can understand the students better. Am I right? Am I right, Putta? Yes. So now a functionalism, but you can actually read these parts, okay? Psychoanalysis school and psychoanalysis. Yeah, that you can read. What I have covered now, Freud, and contribution of psychoanalysis to education. Psychoanalysis has brought out the need for early childhood education. Freud, because they actually, by the age of 5, your adult personality is determined. Freud emphasized that unconscious motivation plays an important role in the process of learning. Importance of experiences of early childhood. So you can read the relevant parts, okay? Relevant parts. Gestalt, I'm doing it with cognition in the second unit. So you don't, all these are discussed in the second unit, okay? That actually hardly comes here, though in this book it's put here. So I'm actually getting you to discuss implications of pedagogical psychology. Can you actually contribute to that and talk more about it? Right, I will tell you then after Kyanapudamam. Because of that, it's too early because we have not covered our rest of the content. Then only that you know what we exactly discussed. But you can actually just jot it down like this. Now, your second unit is development of the child. So education is to develop the child, right? So if you know developing the child in various aspects like cognition, language, emotional, social, the teacher is aware of all these matters related to the development of the child. The teacher can apply them and facilitate development, because ultimate goal of education is the development of the child. And pedagogical psychology helps to actually understand the child and build a rapport. And that rapport actually makes that learning a kind of very effective experience and an effective one. the teacher can actually cater to the individual needs of the child. And further, you can tell personality development of the child is the goal of education. So pedagogical psychology will focus on that aspect and get the child to develop a positive self-concept. And then it will be very effective in actually achieving the goals of education, the balanced personality. And you can tell that pedagogical psychology teaches you, makes you aware of the internal mental processes or the cognition, how it works, how memory works. So if the teacher is aware of our cognitive processes, and then accordingly, the teacher can actually facilitate the learning, because she can use strategies and facilitate the information storage and problem solving. Like that, once the units, all these units are covered, what we actually learn in this module, right? You can refer to them and say, because of that, you can actually get them to do more learning. That is what you can do, right? Now, we have another 10 minutes. So, this is Unit 2. In Unit 2, you have this content. So, have a look at them. And process of growth and development, physical development, social development, emotional development, motor development. So concept formation, logical reasoning, problem solving, cognitive and language development, very important for teachers. Then individual differences. So for that, saw that we have to discuss Piaget and all that. So will you be able to, if I send you a note on Piaget, theory of cognitive development, if I send you a note on Piaget's theory of cognitive development, will you be able to read it and come?
Okay, ma'am. We will.
Yeah. Right. Sorry?
Okay, ma'am, we will do it.
Yeah. And I will not actually discuss whole thing because some are actually irrelevant to you. And because we have to manage it within the time given. But anyway, I will be doing a theory for each component of development, each aspect of development. Now, development is actually seen as language development, here physical development. Let me see, I will show you. So I will actually select one theory for each. For example, here look at this physical development, social development. I will do Erik Erikson here. Emotional development, I will do a theory here. Motor development, like that, I will take one theory and do. So here theories of cognitive development. I'll do Piaget here. So likewise, I will select and do. Otherwise, we won't be able to complete because there's a lot of components, but I will select what you should not miss definitely. Okay, most relevant. So you don't have to worry about it. So before coming to that, we have another 10 minutes. Do you have any questions from what we discussed today? Do you have any questions from what we discussed today?
No, I don't have, ma'am. Everything is okay.
Yeah. Are you actually, do you take interest in actually learning the content and learn more about this subject? That interest is there in you now?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Actually, I felt so interesting. It was very interesting. thing, and
Yeah.
the way we learn is really very good because we discuss and we can ask any question,
Yeah.
and the way you use is really very effective, ma'am. So I
Thank
like
you.
this way. Yeah.
Yes. I want every one of you to not to miss these sessions. Okay. Because we are starting theories next week. So theories are actually very interesting. And when we discuss theories, we discuss how it can be applied in the classroom learning and teaching. So it will be very helpful for you. And when it comes to my assignments, now when we meet this Wednesday, I will give you your first assignment, okay? Because we have to do 2 assignments and the final written paper. So I will give you my first assignment. It will be a very practical one. So I will explain how to do that. I think that you will take interest and do that, Kiela. And will not to miss any one of those sessions. It's only 10 days that you can actually come. Don't think I will get the recording, so I will listen to the recording and do. No, don't think like that. Okay.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Right. And I will actually talk to you about as a stepping stone to the next day's session, because we have another 5 minutes. Growth and development, because our second unit is growth and development of the child. So if you take growth and development, are they the same, or they are 2 different terms, or they are connected terms, interconnected terms? What do you think about these 2 terms, growth and development? You can apply it to a country also, the growth of the country and the development of the country. Growth is economical, but development, people have to be very happy. They have to have all the facilities, right? Their rights are actually secured. Like that, then only the country is developed country. Just because that you have money and economy is sound, that you are not a developed country. So something like that is there when it comes to humans, children, the child, the growth and development. Growth is physical, right? The child grows in height, gains weight, and all these things happen. It's just physical. But if you take development, physical growth is only one aspect of development. Physical growth is only one aspect of development. If you want to actually facilitate the development of the child, it's not only the physical development. It incorporates emotional development, social development, spiritual development, then language development. All the other aspects also play a role here, right? All the other aspects also play a role here. So education is for the development of the child, not only the growth, the physical growth, right? So as a teacher, you are facilitating the development of the child. So if you are facilitating the development of the child, it's not only subject matter, the cognition. You have to get them to emotionally balanced, socially accepted, and fits into the society. And they are happy individuals. They can communicate. They are spiritual. They are moral. All these things come to play. So our next topic is the child's growth and development. So when it comes to growth and development of the child, there are factors affecting the child's growth. So we will be starting with that, and then we'll be actually discussing some theories. I will be sending you the notes that I'm using for the next day as well with the today's one. Okay, by tomorrow through the institute. So I think we can stop for the day, as we can't, there's no time for us to actually start a new topic. So once again, having a look at the class, the names, okay, there are actually 7. Channa, Mubarika, Nilupuli, Situmi, Sulochana, and that's all. So thank you very much for joining. So see you Wednesday, 7:30. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night. Okay.